Welcome to the Bodaciously Awesome Family Show. Bodaciously Awesome Family Show. The only show dedicated to helping parents maximize their kids' experiences and for kids to reap the fun. Here are your hosts, the Bodacious family, Adam, Anthony, and Zachary.
Oh my God, what was that?
Yeah, welcome. I was clearing my throat.
That was terrifying.
Welcome.
That was the scariest thing I've ever heard in my life, ever, I think. Yep.
Back to the Bodaciously Awesome Family
Show!
I am your host, Adam.
Zachary!
No, Zachary's the night off today.
I'm Anthony.
Because you know what's weird? That Zachary didn't want to be on today's podcast because we're talking about things in the future that he'll want to be a part of, but he doesn't want to talk about the fact they're in the future. He wants to talk about the fact that they're not now. But since they're not now, he doesn't want to be here now. He wants to be here then when we hit then, even though we may have just passed it now.
Stop pulling the Inception, 3 layers of time on me. I can't do that this early in the morning.
Yeah, it's more of a Spaceballs reference.
Oh.
When did we just pass it? We just passed it. When?
Just now.
There you go. There we go. We are doing this early in the morning. I said it, which is also kind of unusual. By early, I mean I think it's bright and early at 9. We've been up for a while.
For me, that's way too early.
I gotta say, go man, go.
I got a fuzzy brain right now, so yeah.
But your hair looks great.
Thank you.
I mean, for someone who just woke up, yeah, it looks nice.
Thank you. I try.
I mean, I don't. Can you tell?
No, really, you don't?
All right, so we are talking, Anthony, about what today?
We are talking about Disney Plus's new releases that are coming soon.
That's right. So the other week, Disney Plus had Investor Day, or Disney had Investor Day, and Disney's Investor Day, well, first of all, just kind of avoided a lot of stuff. Like, they didn't talk about, they said, hey, look at Disney Plus. I mean, there's some other announcements in there too, but this was like Disney Plus Day.
Yeah.
Or, I guess you can talk about some movies and everything being pushed around for COVID, but it was a 10-hour event, so maybe I missed things, but they didn't really cover much about, in the theme parks, you saw the Guardians of the at Disney World, Guardians of the Galaxy ride coming, the Tron ride coming, a Ratatouille ride that should be opening pretty soon, so there's a lot of stuff coming, but they didn't, that's not where the excitement was building from.
No, the excitement was coming from all the 20,000 trailers they dropped.
That's right. They then released 20,000 trailers.
I think that's the real number.
It's not it's exact.
It's actually it's 20,003. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
Well, obviously we're going to focus a lot on Marvel and Star Wars
because that's the things we know how to talk about.
Exactly. They also released some Pixar stuff. They said there were some Pixar series coming to Disney Plus, and there's some new Pixar movies that are already coming out. One Pixar movie in general, though, I think we need to mention.
The Buzz Lightyear origin story with Chris Evans.
The Buzz Lightyear origin story with Chris Evans.
I know exactly what you were talking about.
Actually, it's the only one that really, really seemed interesting.
Yeah, that's true.
So they're making a whole new spin. In general, I'm kind of prequeled out. In general, I don't really care about how things come up. If it was a part of the story initially, you don't really have to go back and tell me.
Not really.
Yeah, for the most, some things are great. Rogue One, right? Star Wars
Fantastic.
Rogue One. Yeah.
Best Star Wars movie in a while.
Yeah, it was great. So I'm okay with things like that on some level, but the Star Wars prequels per se didn't necessarily need. Solo didn't necessarily need. So on one level, Buzz Lightyear as a fictional character's fictional origin story, I don't really care that much about as a full-length movie. It was for Disney Plus only, whatever.
This sounds pretty interesting.
But I think this one sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, so they're basically saying if Buzz Lightyear was based on a real person, so as a fictional character he was based on a real person, that person's story who then becomes the character of Buzz Lightyear. At least that's how I was reading into what they're talking about.
I think it's just the first Lightyear.
I don't know what it is. I think it's he's going to be whatever. He's going to be a U.S. astronaut or whatever who then becomes this larger-than-life character. Almost if Sorry, that at least sounds intriguing to me. So
I'm intrigued.
And I also think that you can, since you're doing it based on a different person, you can change the voice. That's why you don't have the same voice. And I think that using Chris Evans as that voice gap, actually, I think is pretty spectacular.
Pretty smart.
Yeah, it's pretty Captain American-y.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was on the Pixar side. Then in a future episode of the Bodaciously Awesome Family Show, we will also review the new Pixar movie Soul, which drops on Disney Plus instead of theaters on Christmas Day.
Oh, I didn't know. Sorry, voice crack.
Wow.
Yeah, only the first voice crack was not on purpose, and the last 18 were. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, hopefully our editor edits that out.
That's me.
Okay, so let's move on from there then. We'll go to Star Wars next, because Star Wars had a lot of announcements, but not a lot of real meat on the bone there yet.
No, there was no meat on the bone. It was just like if someone gave you a rib and then ate like all the meat off of it, and it was just like the bone of the rib. That's what it would be.
That's right. We can make a little stock out of it. Make some some bouillon.
I don't know what a bouillon is, but it sounds.
I've got cooking references now, man. This show is educational. Bam! I just cooked you.
They should play it in schools all across America.
Amen. So, so on the Star Wars side, we're still in the middle of, or towards the end here, of the Mandalorian current season. We'll also review that once that season's done. And they've announced that there's a Mandalorian season 3. And then they announced that Ahsoka gets her own series, which is kind of obvious from the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And they announced a Rangers of the New Republic series, which takes place in the same timeline, again with the same 2 producers. And that's intriguing. And you see that X-Wing in one episode of Mandalorian. There's an X-Wing and a couple of X-Wing pilots.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so I'm kind of assuming that's where that kind of will intersect there.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I'm guessing. I don't know. And then that was the things they announced for that timeline. Then there is a Bad Batch cartoon series. The Bad Batch is a stormtrooper regiment that was based in the Clone Wars, which, by the way, in the last season of Clone Wars, there was like a mini, well, it's like 4 episodes, but it's like a mini 2-hour movie of episodes on the Bad Batch, and it's great. So they get their own series as a cartoon. And then they just announced stuff. They announced Andor, which is the Rogue One prequel, so the prequel of the prequel series, and they've announced that before, but that starts filming now.
Was that like the spy-y one?
Yeah.
Because that sounds... I'm interested in how you make a Star Wars spy movie.
Oh, no, that's not that one. So this is Andor, which is the character from Rogue One, and it's his prequel story about before Rogue One.
Oh, okay. So what's the spy one?
I don't remember what it was called, but there was like a mysterious spy thing that they're... You look that up. The other one they announced, though, was Kenobi, and they've previously announced Kenobi. And this was kind of interesting because famously, maybe you probably might jump back in our Wayback Machine on the Mandalorian episode, I think, last year, because they announced Kenobi, and they actually stalled it a year because they didn't really ever say why, but because apparently the script was too similar to Mandalorian. So basically, it was going to be kind of like Kenobi protecting Luke, and so they went to retool it. So now it's going to start this year, filming this year, and they announced Hayden Christensen back as Darth Vader, which is pretty amazing.
It is, and I found the name of the thing. It's called the Acolyte.
Oh, the Acolyte.
Yeah, and also another one that I want to talk about was Visions, the one by like all the Japanese anime.
That one.
That sounds interesting.
That one sounds super interesting. So you haven't seen this, but this is on somewhere on maybe Hulu, maybe, or maybe it's on HBO Max. There's actually a movie called The Animatrix, and it's a Matrix movie, and it's made up of short animated films by different directors.
Ooh.
And they're all in different styles.
Ooh.
And the best one that I remember was actually, I think it's the first one, was by, if I remember correct, don't quote me on any of this, but there was an anime series called Cowboy Bebop, which was really good.
Cowboy Bebop?
Yeah, it's really good.
Huh.
Highly recommend.
Okay.
Anyway, so I think the Cowboy Bebop guy then did the first episode of the Animatrix. Excuse me, not the Animaniacs, different story. But anyway, so it's very similar to that. But yeah, the fact they're doing a Star Wars animated show that are all going to be different short stories from different Japanese animators floored me. I thought that was really cool.
It sounds pretty amazing. I'm not going to lie.
All the Star Wars... Oh, then they said there's the Patty Jenkins, who's directed Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 2. She's doing a Rogue Squadron movie. Rogue Squadron was the X-Wing pilot that Luke's in the original movies. And then they wrote a series of books on Rogue Squadron when the books all became popular in the late 90s. And those were really interesting. They're like dogfight books. And that comes out in 3 years. That's intriguing. That's a tight timeline, honestly.
Yeah, it sounds it.
Yeah, I mean, it's for them, if they're still got to be...
If it's going to be
script.
like a bigger scale movie.
Yeah, I would imagine it would be.
Yeah.
And then they announced, I can't pronounce this guy's name, Tahiti Wakati?
Tahiti Wakatati, and I'm so sorry for disgracing your family name.
Yeah, dude, I cannot, we have to hear it a lot more times. But yeah, so he is the director, well, he's directed, the current Thor movie, or he's directing
Ragnarok.
that. Well, he directed Ragnarok, and I think he's directing Love and Thunder.
Love and Thunder.
I probably should remember these names better.
Probably.
And they announced him doing another Star Wars movie, too. Again, That's all previously announced. So here's my problem with the Disney Investor Day Star Wars announcements.
Hey, Dad, I have a question.
What's your question, Anthony?
What is your problem with the Disney Star Wars Investor Day announcements?
That was close.
That word.
I think wording could be better there, but I think you got it close.
Okay, so what's your problem?
My problem was that, especially when we get to the Marvel one here in a second, is that they just like there's a couple. They basically showed you like a title treatment, like, oh look, Kenobi, or oh look, Ahsoka. Sorry, they didn't like. There's no meat yet because they basically are saying, here's all the stuff we want to do. Basically, they're saying, holy cow, we thought by the end of year 4 we'd have 90 million subscribers. We're at 90 million subscribers at the end of year 1. So we have more money in the budget now than we thought we were going to, and we didn't realize that Mandalorian was going to be a hit.
So here's a bunch of stuff.
Right. So we just started thinking of all this stuff, and we're throwing it all at you.
Yeah.
And that bugs me because, it means they don't really have it. Well, obviously, it's not done. It could be in filming or starting. They could have scripts written, and it could actually never even see the light of day.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, so Lucasfilm.
Like, I don't think, like, there's some shows that they announced that just doesn't seem like something they're actually going to make.
Like what?
Like She-Hulk. Like,
well, that's in the Marvel side, but I think they really will. They announced that, like, last year.
Oh, really? Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
See, but we'll get to that Marvel side in a second, because I think that's actually all different. But on the Star Wars side, they announce all this stuff without any cast, right? Again, Andor or Kenobi.
Well, they have limited cast.
Right. Andor, Kenobi, or Ahsoka they have. But then there's a lot of, we're going to do this thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, so even the movies, I could see them just not happening. So at one point, they announced movies from the guys who did Game of Thrones, there was going to be a trilogy. They announced that Rian Johnson was going to be doing a new trilogy.
Yeah.
And you know what I didn't hear in this Investor Day?
Yeah, I was excited to, the official announcement of Rian Johnson trilogy would have been nice, but...
Yeah, but they announced it. They did nothing.
I really wanted a Rian Johnson trilogy.
The Game of Thrones people, I think they've already said that one's not going to happen. But the Rian Johnson one, they keep occasionally bringing up. And they didn't at Investor Day.
Yeah, which makes me sad.
It does. But I think that goes back to my point, right? That everything they announced also seems like they could just go away. And right before Disney bought Lucasfilm, Lucas was in production of a live-action Star Wars show. It was like a seedy underground on Coruscant, which is like the capital of the Empire, like villain show. And apparently they got pretty far on it. Like numerous episodes were filmed that's never seen the light of day. And then there was like an irreverent Star Wars cartoon by Seth Green who did Robot Chicken. And that one,
the Robot Chicken dude.
Yeah,
Best day of my life.
And they apparently did there's episodes of that never have seen the light of day. So, at any rate, it all confuses me about whether or not they'll actually see it. Let's go to Marvel real quick.
Let's go to Marvel really quick, shall we? I think it's time to go to Marvel really quick.
So you have some problems with She-Hulk apparently.
Yeah, like I get like trying to have more females in like leading roles that would typically be like stereotypically be masculine, which obviously shouldn't be a thing, but it is. So I appreciate they're trying to change that, but it just doesn't fit everything else that Marvel is doing because they're trying to go a little bit more. It seems like they're trying to go a little bit more adult with like the new Doctor Strange movie, which they already said is going to be, like kind of like a horror or whatever. So it just doesn't really fit the new vibe they're trying to fit in. If that makes sense.
Well, it could. Like, and you know what I mean. The Hulk in general. I didn't really put this in perspective. The only thing I know about She-Hulk is the fact that there is a character named She-Hulk. And then what they said on the thing about apparently she's a lawyer that represents superheroes or something. I don't even know. Like, it's not a character I know much about. Hulk, though, I could be a scary character. Like, you could make Hulk scary and very adult.
You could. I mean, but given the description they gave of the show, it doesn't seem like they're going to do that.
I would imagine not. So Marvel has to blend that line of kid, because Zachary likes watching the Marvel movies.
Yes, he does.
To teen and young adult, because you like watching the Marvel movies.
Yeah, but...
And then to adult. To see if, like I do, but like even try to capture mom into that category, as we've talked about before, who has famously never watched any Marvel movie with the exception of Black Panther.
And she said she watched WandaVision, which I think is like a good segue.
Exactly. So we then watched the WandaVision trailer. So WandaVision is the next show to come out.
That one looks weird.
So WandaVision comes out in January, and it looks super weird.
It looks like all sorts of weird.
All super weird.
Like all the weirds. And
I'm into that.
I am too.
Yeah. So we'll watch it, and we showed the trailer to Mom, and she said that she was intrigued.
Yeah, it looks intriguing is one word for it.
Yeah. So we're good with that. And again, I think it does look more adult-y or more mature just from this strangeness.
Exactly.
And yes, they had then announced Doctor Strange 2, which is being directed by Sam Raimi, who directed the Evil Dead movies and the old Spider-Man movies, which, again, Spider-Man 2 still... Oh, actually, now it's no longer my great... I don't think it's the best superhero movie of all time.
I do.
You think Spider-Man 2 is better than Endgame?
As a standalone movie, yes.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, Endgame needs the other 20 to come before it, sure.
Yes, yeah. But as a standalone movie, I think Spider-Man 2 is better.
All right, fair enough. Okay, then I will still agree with that. But Sam Raimi did that. So he's definitely known more on the horror side. And yes, you can bring that horror element in Doctor Strange. But I think they tried, and now I think they're going to do with Disney Plus is be able to lighten some of those things up here and there. I mean, you have, now they announced a lot of stuff, and a lot of stuff with footage, things that are already in production or already done.
Yeah.
So you have WandaVision, you have Falcon and Winter Soldier, which looked intriguing. You have
Loki, which looks amazing.
Loki, which looks amazing. That one looks like that was
that one looks fantastic.
The end of the year. Well, yeah. So it looks like that Marvel will release 3 live action shows in calendar year 2021,
and plus What If too.
And then one animated show is What If, which also looks really cool.
Yeah.
So on the Star Wars side, Disney gave us a lot of promises, and on the Marvel side, they gave us a lot of fact.
Yeah.
It appears.
So it appears.
So it appears. They also then on the Marvel, funny on the Marvel side, they then they kind of recategorized movies, but not showing you anything new. So you still have the Eternals coming out now in 2021, and Black Widow, and Shang-Chi and the Seven Rings or something.
Yeah, what was that one with the guy with the split personalities? Because that one sounded really good.
Moon Knight.
Yes, Moon Knight.
So Moon Knight was one of the shows they announced, and they have not. They said they had a cast. That was it. But yeah, about a guy with multiple personalities, and each multiple personality was like its own superhero or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounded cool.
And it's like they're using like Egyptian stuff to make it like Indiana Jonesy. Yeah, that sounds really good.
Yeah, it was cool. I think it's what I really enjoy about Marvel in general is that, again, as we've talked before, I've never read comic books.
No, I haven't either.
Yeah, and you've never read comics. That's not the foray into geekdom that we really have.
That is a correct statement.
As a media.
Yeah.
So as a media, all those stories are new to me. Now, I love the TV shows and I love the movies, and seeing them all interact, I find to be a cinematic marvel of our generation.
Oh, yeah. I see what you did there, Marvel.
Like that?
Nice.
Yeah, I wrote that one out a long time ago. I've been waiting for it.
Really?
No.
Okay. Big say. Good.
So when they can throw out new characters, I know they're just doing it for the comics, right? Like She-Hulk has a comic, right? Like we don't know it because we've never read comics. But yeah, Moon Knight sounded really interesting. Same thing that now you have Miss Marvel. So you have Miss Marvel. Again, you have
looks a lot lighter too.
A lot lighter,
that, yeah.
And you have a teenage female woman, a person of color protagonist. Again, all comes very interesting in terms of a new look and
feel. Yeah.
And I like that. And then he was even saying, Kevin Feige was saying how they all play into movies, how then she'll be in, say, Captain Marvel 2, or how you have Hulk in She-Hulk, and the one thing I think that really threw Disney this year, or Marvel this year, they had to postpone all these movies, right? Well, the series were already planned. WandaVision was planned for now, and Winter Soldier and Falcon was planned for now. So those movies should have come out, and those end scenes then should have probably played into the series on some level, right? And they couldn't. So I think that probably threw it for a loop. They had to retool some stuff, but it'll be interesting to see how the movies and the TV shows interact, given how long the strategy lasts or is being intertwined.
Yeah, it's going to be. I think they wanted to do like movie, TV show, and kind of have them like evenly distributed almost, but that is not going to happen at this point.
At the very least, the timelines got a little shifted.
Yes.
So we have I think most of the shows. I'm probably sure we've missed 1 or 2 or 10. Say now it's like 2003 or 2003.
Yes, exactly 2003.
On the movie side on Marvel, so again, this year we should have what it has in 2020 is going to come out in 2021. So Black Widow, Seven Rings, and the Eternals.
The Eternals is weird because like I've never. It's like Guardians of the Galaxy almost. Like no one's ever really heard of them. They're like a B-list comic.
But apparently they're great. Who knows? And then they announced again. Well, so then on the movie side, you still had Thor and the other one, Captain Marvel and Black Panther 2. So and hugely saying they are not going to recast, the original Black Panther, right?
Which is good.
Yeah, I mean, they brought a tear to my eye, literally.
Yeah, as they should not recast him.
Yeah, I mean, they can recast the superhero mantle that gets passed or something. I mean, we'll see what they do, but to not just recast the character, I think is it's fitting.
Yes, and they absolutely should not.
Or honoring, I guess, a better word.
Yeah, they absolutely should not recast him.
So they kind of went through all those, but then they announced other things like Secret Wars and there's another series they'll be doing.
Yeah, but Secret Wars or Secret Invasion or whatever seemed more fit for like an Avengers movie than a series almost. Well, and the other one was Armor Wars.
Armor Wars.
Yeah.
Well, and again, so those are some big comic crossovers that they which I'd heard of, especially in the knowing about what the Infinity Gauntlet was and whatnot. And I know that there was web scuttlebutt, before they announced Marvel Phase 4 after Endgame, that perhaps Secret Wars or Armor Wars, like one of those could become, like say, if they did an Avengers 5 or 6, that could become like say 7 and 8, like another big, huge, 20 movie culmination like Avengers was. Obviously, that's not meant to be now.
Obviously not.
The other one that I read a great article, I wish I could remember where it was, about the same thing. Like, what can Marvel Phase 4, 5, and 6 become? And what can that big quote-unquote Avengers movie at the end, end story be? Again, like Infinity War and Endgame. And this person then drew up this entire, pretty lengthy description on it to be the introduction of Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
As effectively the next Avengers.
That could work, I guess.
And then Marvel famously did not announce Fantastic Four for Phase 4 until now.
Until now.
So that's also intriguing. And they said we have no cast for this. They did have a director. So the guy who directed
James Gunn.
No. Ben Watts?
Yeah, Ben Watts. Who
directed the director of Spider-Man 1 and 2.
Correct.
And so they announced him for it. And that'll be intriguing to see what he gets, because Fantastic Four has historically had 3 tries to make a movie. The first one was by Roger Corman in the 80s, and it's abysmally bad. Like, it was never released, horrifically, comically bad.
Wow.
Then you have the Fantastic Four 2, which came out in, let's call it the early 2000s.
Yeah, 2000s. Yeah.
And those are not good. They're not horrible. Well, the second one's pretty bad. The first one, though, is at least watchable.
Yeah, I remember watching it, actually.
Yeah. Yes, you did. Yeah, you watched it, and you were, like, say, 10, and you're like, actually, you were probably like 8. And you're like, yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, I was like 8.
Then there was the new Fantastic Four, which half of is amazing might be too hard or strong of a term. Half of it is really good. And then, boy, did it go off the rails fast.
I've never even you've never even talked about this one.
Right. Obviously, you can't.
Yeah. And obviously, my brain is physically unable to.
Yes. But yeah, so that one is that half of it is. Honestly, I thought it was really the becoming the building of the team part of it. I thought really worked well. And then they're like, oh look, we can like teleport to this planet magically, and then it's just awful.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but the fact that you can build that into a better storyline throughout all these movies and series is very intriguing.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I got a big. We can't do these early in the morning.
No, we cannot.
Yeah. My bad.
Yeah, this is your bad.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's true.
And we're at 23 minutes. We probably should be lit up here. So, Anthony, of all those things, right, the few things from Pixar, the few things from Star Wars, the mass amounts from Lucasfilm on that. Oh, they also on Lucasfilm side, they still said they're still threatening Indiana Jones 5. So hopefully that
threatening is the right word for that.
Threatening is the right word for that. It's like we're being held at bullwhip, gunpoint. Yeah.
It was an 80-year-old Harrison Ford or whoever.
Yeah, yeah. The only good thing about that right now is
it's not going to happen anytime soon.
Right. They want to start filming and get into production, but then it's the fact that I would say the only good thing is the director, but that means I would say that I don't want Spielberg directing it, which I probably do, except for the fact that I would like Spielberg to do anything else. Just because I love Spielberg so much.
Yeah, you got to save his legacy a little bit.
Right, and I'm a big fan of who they did bring in. Maybe okay. It's like James Marigold, I think. He directed Logan, which is like kind of the old man Wolverine movie, which is really good. No, you still can't see it. And then as you hang your head.
But I want to.
Oh, you should want to.
Yeah.
He also directed Ford vs. Ferrari, which was really good.
Yeah, that one got nominated for Best Picture, right?
Yeah, it did. It's good. So there's a pedigree there that I can be appreciative of, and it's a new look, hopefully.
In theory.
But I still, unless they do something just remarkably, like you put Harrison Ford in like interstitials in the front, in the beginning, the middle, the end, but not as the main driver. Maybe maybe the main driver is a flashback or something. I don't know how you do it.
That would be perfect.
Yeah,
but it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, like there's that show, the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, that had an old Indy basically wandering around a library telling stories to people, and it was kind of like about these things that he did when he was, say, 12 and 14.
Which would be perfect.
Yeah, but I don't know if they're going to go that route.
But they won't go that.
I don't think they will either, but they could.
They won't.
Anywho, so of all that, what are, say, the top 3 you're looking most forward to?
Definitely Loki's up there. The Loki looks really interesting. The Rogue Squadron, probably, and Doctor Strange 2.
Interesting choices.
Or actually, no, not. Man, but can I have 4? Because I really want to.
You have 5.
Okay, and the Crescent Moon, whatever one from Marvel. Moon Knight, right?
Crescent Moon. It's not a
like a fairy tale you read to your little kid before, but right.
It's not a sparkly vampire movie.
Right. Yeah. So Moon Knight, that one sounds very good, and probably the Rogue One the Rogue One prequel. Final answer.
Okay, interesting. So I would probably say, if I got to go through things I didn't already know about, right? Because a lot of those are just already new or said. Like the Hayden Christensen news as Vader is intriguing to me, but I assume it's gonna be just like at the end, and I'm assuming it's not gonna matter to me anyway. Kenobi still intrigues me though, or the Rogue One prequel intrigues me. But yeah, Rogue One by Patty Jenkins, I'm heavily intrigued by that, so that's on my list.
Rogue Squadron.
Yeah. Sorry, Rogue Squadron by Patty Jenkins. The other stuff on the Star Wars side.
Yeah, honestly, I was a little disappointed.
I mean, because they don't have much. It's all kind of like, hey, here's the stuff we're gonna bring you.
The spy one sounds interesting, but past that,
yeah. So that spy one. That was called Prodigy.
No, it wasn't Prodigy. It was something.
Anarchy.
Nope.
And we've already forgotten the name twice. Look it up again. But so I'm at least a little intrigued. But those are so far out. I'm gonna hold my applause. The Lightyear movie by Pixar. Again, I'm intrigued by. But then after that, it's the Marvel slate, and more than anything, it's the Marvel slate and how it's all going to interact with each other. I think that their intertwined storytelling device and moving through them all is going to be really cool.
The Acolytes.
That was close.
No, you weren't.
I've heard it both ways. All right, so I think that's what we got. I think those are all. Basically, the next 3 years of content is going to be amazing.
Oh yeah.
And we went way overboard on this one.
Yes,
apparently I bored you.
Yeah, no, I'm just tired.
All right.
I'm still waking up. I've only been up for like an hour.
Anything else we got to say today?
No, actually, there's not.
Yeah, because I'm having a random thought of the day.
Yeah, I was getting ready for it, and then I realized, wait, we can't do that.
No, the random thought of the day is us trying to figure out or remember the name of either Acolyte or Moonfall. No, Moon Knight.
Moon Knight.
Dang it, I just forgot.
Crescent Moon.
Crescent Moon. It's the island of the Crescent Canyon. I just made that up. I don't know what that is either.
Yeah, me neither.
All right, everyone. We'll talk to y'all next week. Bye.
Bye.
Acolyte.